Trump Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh is dividing the country. And that's really no surprise. Most Supreme Court nominees do. But right now, the country is divided more so over a woman making claims that could influence the outcome of his nomination. Professor Christine Blasey Ford says when she was 15 at a high school party, then 17-year-old Brett Kavanaugh forced her onto a bed, pinned her to her back, and tried to take her bathing suit off, covering her mouth as she screamed for help. The claims date back more than 30 years, and Ford only recently went public, and only after a letter she sent to Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein outlining the accusations was leaked to the press. Look, this segment is about finding common ground, but I understand the limits of that. I'm not going to convince you to believe or not to believe Kavanaugh's accuser, because none of us were there. I'm also not here to tell you whether the accusations should prevent him from becoming the next justice of the United States Supreme Court. But what I do hope that we can agree on are responses like these. I heard Kavanaugh stepped on a bug when he was 12 years old. Why is a 15-year-old at a high school booze party in a one-piece? And we wonder why some women don't want to come forward in the first place. Maybe it's because society greets them with vile and disgusting responses that trivialize something women all across this country experience every single day. Can we at least agree that comparing the accusation of sexual assault to squashing a bug, or to blame a teenage girl for wearing a swimsuit at a high school party, is treating women as less than human? Every time we see a response like that, can we think about our own daughters and sisters and mothers? Would we ever treat them in the same way? Would we ever want them to be subject to responses like these? Nobody forced her to go into the bedroom with him. And don't tell me she wasn't probably drunk at the same time. Look, this isn't about Professor Ford or the Supreme Court. It's bigger than that. Yes, it's bigger than the Supreme Court. This is about the next time something happens to a young girl, maybe your daughter or a granddaughter, and she has to decide whether to speak up. And make no mistake, she will look to how we treated the women who came before her. And she'll ask herself, is it worth it? Will they believe me? And maybe she'd been drinking, or she was wearing a bathing suit, or it happened a couple years ago and she just now has the courage or the wisdom of age to come forward. But then she stops and she sees what was said about Professor Ford. And in that moment, she decides that she would rather stay silent than have her sexual assault compared to a man squashing a bug.